Hello, welcome to another episode of The Bright Side of 50 with Carla Palmer. Hey y'all, hey. Listen, this week I had an episode, the same week, I had an episode entitled Table for One, Please, right? And that episode was about dining alone and the beauty in it and how, we need to be empowered and inspired to treat ourselves. Well, sadly, I have an update about my dining alone experience that is usually pretty good. So I had a dining alone experience this evening. I was in Venice at a restaurant. The name of it is Paloma. I'm going to go on and name the restaurant. I don't care. So the name of the restaurant is Paloma. And initially Paloma opened in 2022. And I had a terrible experience at this restaurant when it opened in 2022. Had nothing to do with the restaurant and everything to do with a particular man who decided to dine at the bar and completely insult me in the most disgusting way. I'll do an episode about that later. So I hadn't been back to this restaurant since that incident. And I decided tonight I wanted to try it again. So I go in, I try it again. I didn't have a reservation, but it's a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday before the 4th of July. It wasn't busy. The restaurant was not busy at all. So I go up to the restaurant and I say, hey, I don't have a reservation, didn't make a reservation on Open Table or Resi. Do you have a table for one? Clearly, yes, they had a table, right? There were people dining outside. It's a beautiful patio. People dining outside, but there weren't a lot of people dining outside. There were lots of spaces outside. And she says, well, would you like to sit at the bar? And I said, no, I don't want to sit at the bar. And she said, okay. And she looks at her co-host and says, okay, well, we can seat her. And I'm looking around like outside, like I'd love to sit on the patio outside. And I'm looking around and she sees me doing this. And she says, oh, we're not seating anybody outside right now because everybody's going to want to go in just a bit because it's going to get really cold. And so we're just not going to seat anybody outside. Now, I call BS in my head right away because I was like, oh, she full of it. But whatever. I didn't make a reservation. I really don't have a lot of room to make a lot of suggestions and complaints and all of that. So I didn't make a big hoopla about it, but I knew she was lying. So I go in and I sit down, and this table that they gave me was like the worst table in the whole restaurant. It was near the bar, but it was near the bar and over in a corner, right? Where it was just, fine, you're by yourself, sit over here and be quiet and we'll take care of you the best that we can. Like that's exactly where that table was. That table that nobody wants. So I sit there, and as I'm sitting there, I noticed that people were being seated outside. People were being seated, two tables, people with two people, not just one person. They were being seated like in different places of the restaurant that were cool, right? The restaurant never filled up. So finally, the food was not good. I'll say that. The food was not good at all. They had a new chef. They had done like a rebrand and they hired this cool chef, I guess. I don't know what his name is, but you can look it up. Paloma restaurant in Venice Beach. So this guy is supposed to be this like really cool chef. And the food was like super bland, super basic when the guy who was so really, 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 really nice. I loved the guy who served me. He was amazing. I believe his name was Tony. And so Tony comes back. He's like, how's your food? And I was like, it's not great. It's basic. It's flavorless. I had like chicken shawarma. I don't know how to say it. Shawarma. I think that's the name of it. So I had that. And this is like a kind of a Mediterranean, maybe American fusion kind of place. And so the food was very subpar. And so finally, he came back. He goes, I want to ask you again, how was your food? And I said, well, I needed some time to really decide how the food was. And the food was not great. But I appreciate your service. You have been super kind to me. And I do have a little bit of a complaint to make about the dining experience. And so I shared with him, my dining experience for the evening. I shared with him how I saw that people were being seated outside. I saw that people had sat down beside me and come they've been the waitress or the server came back and would you like to have a table outside and sat them outside, like really good, just kind of like catered to people who were groups of two or more. And I said, doesn't feel great. I don't like it. I feel like it's discriminatory. Not, it has nothing to do with race. I'm not pulling the race card here, but it's discriminatory practices against solo diners. And I also said that I understand the business model. Like I get it. Businesses need to make money. And when people come in and they're solo dining, they don't make as much money. Like I totally understand that. I said, but it doesn't feel great. Doesn't feel great from the start of things with Open Table, with Resi, like all of the third party apps. They don't really cater to solo diners. And it's just kind of like, if we have to entertain you, fine, we will, but we don't really want to. And so he really heard me out. It was beautiful. He went and got the general manager, who was also a lovely, lovely person, which I kind of feel bad about naming the restaurant. But at this point, I don't care because I ain't going to eat back there and again. And I don't suggest you go there either because the food is not good. But the general manager was, I think his name was Jeff, really, really, really nice man. Like actually sat down and heard me out, said that, he really felt bad about the experience. He offered, do you want anything else? I can get it for you, like on the house or whatever. And at that point, I didn't want anything else. And I also didn't want them to think that I was a solo diner complaining about solo dining and the experience and then trying to get something for free. So I wanted to make sure that that was not the taste that I left in his mouth. But I did want to leave with him that this wasn't a great experience. He, made it a point to say, this is my home. When people come to eat in my home and have an experience in my home, I want it to be great. And I hope that if you come back, I hope that you will come back. When you come back, look for me, ask for your server that you like today, and we will take care of you. And I really believe that. I really do believe that. Unfortunately, I won't be back. The drinks were good. I'd say if you'd like to go and get a drink there at Paloma in Venice, get a drink. It's good. But the food was not. And the hostess who seated me and tried to make room for me, which was whack and a lie, I wasn't feeling that. So I just, I wanted to piggyback on the the message that I had earlier this week on Monday about dining alone, table for one, please. Be empowered, like do the thing. It's going to be amazing. It's not always going to be amazing. And I needed that experience this week on today to reiterate, or because I think I did say a little bit about how it's not always the greatest experience, but I do want to highlight that, hey, I did say go and do it, be empowered, do your thing, take care of you. But now I want to say do all of that still and understand that it won't always be a great experience. Okay. This is my 3 minutes. I think I went a little bit over, but I think you're fine with that because I needed to get my message across today. But hey, still go out there, dine alone, enjoy yourself. It's totally worth it. Even if they give you some BS crap at the start of like going in and trying to find a seat about how, they're not seating anybody outside on the patio because everybody's going to want to move inside soon. Not true. Stop lying, people. But stick it out, people. I promise you it is going to be okay. And the good outweighs the bad. I promise you. And when you do get seated and situated and treated lovely, you will appreciate the experience. Okay. That's my 3 minutes. Maybe it's 5 minutes. I don't know, but I will see you on the next episode of The Bright Side of 50 with Carla Palmer. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.